Hello, welcome to another stretch session. Now, as you can see, this is a different format today in that I am recording a voiceover to the class that I've already recorded. So we're starting off just by bringing one knee into the body, gently squeezing it in, letting the other leg stretch out along the ground. Then switch over to the other side. Remember, just a normal breath throughout the practice, just breathing as you normally would. Both knees coming in together, just a very gentle swaying from side to side. That should feel really nice across the lower back. And then we'll do a twist. So taking one leg, stretching it out along the floor, and the other leg, if you rest the inside of the ankle to the inside of the other knee and just let the knee roll over. You're resting one hand on the knee. Now you're not trying to force or push that knee downwards. It's just really to keep the knee in place without any additional pressure. The opposite arm is stretching out along the ground at the same time. Try and keep the shoulder nice and flat on the floor. If you can, look across the outstretched arm. Try and tuck the chin down so the neck is staying nice and long and relaxed and neutral. And close your eyes. Remember that closing your eyes can help you tune in to what it is you're feeling in these postures. And it's never about how far you can go. It's not about what it looks like. It's not about what anybody else is doing if you're practicing with other people. It is about how it feels to your body. Now these postures are nice long holds. So while we're holding a posture, I might talk if there's something that I think might help. Otherwise, I'm going to be quiet as you practice as well. Forgive any background noise if we come across any, but I'm in a much quieter place than I would be for or where I was when I was recording the class. That's why I'm doing it this way. Okay, so we've just switched sides now. So you bring the knee back in. I'd pause between sides if there are two sides to a posture. Opposite leg stretches out along the ground now. Resting the foot on the knee and let the knee just roll over. And you will notice there's probably a difference on the two sides of the body. This is quite usual for human bodies to be a little uneven. It's a good reason to be doing this kind of work. So just take your time, ease into it, and enjoy it. See if you can get the other foot, that is the foot on the outstretched leg, to roll all the way over into the little toe so that it's right on its edge, completely rolled over. If it isn't doing that, if you find that you just rolled your foot even more and it went onto the little toe, that means there was more twist left in this posture, still keeping the opposite shoulder nice and flat on the ground. This practice is derived from a yin yoga practice where postures, stretches are held for longer periods of time, meaning that we can really go deep into connective tissue. So not just muscle, but joint, ligament, disc of the spine. stuff that takes a little bit longer to respond, hence the longer hold. Take your time, there is no rush. Go and feel. These postures, these sensations should feel really nice. Okay, slowly bringing that knee back into the middle. I'd wait until you get into that nice neutral position in the middle, and then either hugging the knees in, or if you feel ready to go on to the next posture, which I'm doing in the video, we're going to move into a sideways movement. So we're stretching one side of the body, sometimes referred to as the banana posture. So what I've done is I've moved both the upper half of the body and the lower half of the body in the same direction. So I've just slid my heels on my feet over to the right side. I've moved my upper body by gently shuffling it over to the right side as well. I've taken my arms overhead, just in a nice relaxed crossed arm position. If you can't cross, or you just want to have the arms out to the sides more than together, that's fine. I've crossed my ankles, and you can actually cross the ankles either way around. Whichever direction you've gone in, you can cross them either way around. They're both valid, but slightly different sensations. And I'm turning the head in the opposite direction to the curve, but you could also turn it the other way as well. Again, slightly different, but depending on which feels nicer to you. And I'm coming back into the middle, and we're going to go the other way. Do apologise, that was my phone. I've just put that under silence. That does make a noise in the background. So we've gone the other way now. So the upper body, then the lower body. We are taking the arms over the head, crossing the ankles. It doesn't matter with things like the direction of the head or which way around you cross the ankles, but do be consistent about which way around you do cross. Sometimes referred to as the banana posture in Yin Yoga, Janusasana in Sanskrit, although that's not an official name, of course. Beautiful stretch along one side of the body. So be consistent on the two sides. Remember, cross the ankles the same way around on each side. Turn the head in the same direction per posture as you did on the first. So slowly easing back into the middle. What I'm doing now is I'm just shifting over to the wall. If you have a wall, you could also use whatever furniture you've got nearby, cabinet. You could put your legs up on a couch or sofa if you've got one. If you haven't got a wall surface area that you could do this posture, you could do a sitting version of it. If you do a sitting version of it, I would bend the knees. If you notice in the video, I've actually also got my knees bent in this, and I'm actually holding my knees with my hands. Now, the legs would stay up the wall without me holding them. it just feels quite nice to hold them. I also am recovering from a bit of a knee injury, so it just feels like I've got a little bit more support there with my hands. This is quite a strong stretch on the inside of the leg, inside of the knee joint. Don't underestimate it. Remember, the basic rule in this practice is that nothing should ever hurt. Tuck the chin in this one as well so that the neck's not tipping backwards. Close your eyes, just enjoy it. The muscle along the inside of the thighs, the adductor muscle. Now what I've done now is just drawn the feet and legs together. This is a nice stretch for the back of the thighs and also the back of the body. Body's forming a right angle. Again, the legs should stay up on their own in that one. What we're doing now is we're rolling around, we're coming into the Sphinx posture. Nice back bend, nice squeeze on the muscles and joints of the lower back. Starting off on the elbows, it could well be that you stay on the elbows right throughout this posture. That would be absolutely fine to do. Or, as I have just done, you have the option of lifting the elbows, turning it into a fuller back bend, making sure that everything feels nice. Beautiful squeeze across the back side of the body. Nice stretch on the front surface of the body. Either looking straight ahead, possibly up to get an additional stretch on the neck. I'm looking out of what is a window just off screen. Probably thinking to myself, it's really noisy out there. Perhaps I should try a voiceover for this recording. I noticed the voice recording was just in the off position a little earlier, so if it was cut out of the voiceover earlier on, don't hesitate to send me any feedback on this recording, whether you like the format or not. Leaving any comments in the comments section of whichever platform you're watching it on. Or send me a message, send me an email. Via the various platforms, Messenger, WhatsApp. Those of you in my coaching program, you can see the messages within the app as well. Now, what we're doing now is the bow posture, Janusasana in Sanskrit. Powerful stretch for the spine. Try and hold the ankles rather than the feet if you can. Following that, we're moving into child's pose, nice counter posture. The bow doesn't need to be held for a long period of time. That's just a really nice squeeze on the back. Moving into a squat posture. Equally nice stretch on the lower back as well. Really natural shape for the body to be in. Opens up the joints of the lower spine and the hip and knee. Like I say, I'm recovering from a knee injury, but this posture feels really nice on that joint. Doesn't hurt it. You can do what I'm doing and bring the palms of the hands together, elbows inside the knees. That's more of a formal shape. You don't need to do that, but just allows you to squeeze inwards with the knees, get a nice little opening of the joint or joints. And then we're going to move into what will end up being a split, starting off with a nice lunge, nice stretch for the front of the thigh. You can see me looking at the camera there. I am actually a little off, slightly wrong position with the camera and tripod, so I do apologise about that. Next time I'll tip it slightly up to get the full frame. Moving into a stretch for the back of the thigh now. So the lunge stretches the front or the quadricep. This one stretches the hamstring at the back. Then we put the two things together. It becomes a full split. Beautiful stretch for all of the muscles of the leg. So I lifted my ankle forwards. Be careful when you do that. That was quite a big lift. I recommend doing most of the separation with the back foot. Tuck the toes and lift the knee at the back. I only did that once. But you shuffle it into the place where it feels nice and comfortable and you're able to hold it. Not too much weight on the hands. I'm just very lightly supporting this posture with my hands. And again, I'm being a little careful due to the knee injury I've had, which has nothing to do with any yoga or any exercise practice, in fact. If it hurts, it's wrong. That's the best way to prevent injuries as well. So slowly shuffling forwards using the foot at the back. We're going to swap sides to exactly the same 3 postures on the other side. So first of all, that lunge, sinking into it, feeling that stretch at the top of the thigh in particular. Back foot nice and relaxed. Doesn't have to be any kind of balance, so if you're near a wall, you could have a hand on a wall or a chair, table. Balance is something different. We're focused on really stretching these muscles, so if you're struggling to balance, you won't be able to relax the muscles enough to get a good stretch, so make sure that you are supported if need be. And now easing into the hamstring. Hamstring can often be one of the tightest muscles in the body. So moving into the split on this side now, lifting one foot, shifting the back foot. Quite different on the 2 sides, isn't it? That will have something to do with injury around the knee area. So there will be differences, different tightnesses on the 2 sides. Postures are never completely still. So a little bit of movement's okay, a little bit of adjustment, finding just that right spot where you get the nicest stretch. And if a posture like this starts to open up, then you can always go a little bit deeper. Or if it's feeling a little bit too intense, you back off, stop if necessary, and we can do that whenever you need to. Not about how far you go, but how it feels that really matters. Okay, so tucking the toes, lifting the knee, tucking the toes, lifting the knee, slowly working your way out of it. That's the safest way to come out of that posture. We're going to do a couple of seated postures. So very carefully taking the ankle or the foot of one leg over to the outside of the other thigh if you can, trying to keep the other foot slightly away from you so you can sit down squarely between the legs, so we've got both sitting bones on the ground here. And on this side I'm working the right side deeper and deeper into that sitting position. Really nice stretch on the glute and the hip. Arms quite just casually resting on the leg to keep the posture in place. You could add a little bit of a twist as I'm doing here. This is not a formal version of a posture like this, it's just really getting that nice stretch out of the shape. Okay, and then we'll do the other side, so just carefully switching over. Again, one side will be very different to the other side, so take your time, ease into it. Perhaps one side you feel like more of a twist than the other. Working the sitting bones down. And slowly making our way out of that, and we're doing a very informal, relaxed version of a yoga posture called Janusasana, where you've got one leg straight, one leg bent. The straight leg you can have slightly bent, as I have, in order to really ease into it. Now I'm not holding that one for very long. We're going to move into the double, which is what I really want to do to get that nice stretch across both the back of the thighs and the back of the body. So we're keeping neither the legs nor the back completely straight here. In fact, we're bending the legs in order to be able to really tip the body forwards. I've got the front surface of my body resting across the front surface of my thighs. And it's such a nice stretch, especially across the lower back. Just keep the head nice neutral position, so probably looking towards the feet. Try not to let the head drop down too low. I am not pulling with my arms. I'm not trying to pull the body forwards. I'm just holding the feet because that's where my hands reach to in this posture. There, I've transferred them to the ankles. It doesn't really matter where the hands are. You're not trying to pull yourself forwards, you're just easing into it. Now what I'm doing here is actually just straightening the legs a little bit, which will bring my body a little bit away from the legs perhaps, and it'll transfer the stretch into a slightly different area. Experiment, see what feels nicest. I find it helps to have the arms outside of the knees to stop the knees splaying apart. That would be a different posture. This is the first video where I've included a voiceover option, so a lot of this is new. This is actually all in one take, so if there are any hiccups and I choose not to edit them because I feel we can get away with them, then do forgive any unsmoothness in the recording. Like I say, any feedback welcome on how you feel about this approach, this format if you like. Deserves a nice long hold, this posture, powerful stretch for the spine and for the legs. Okay, slowly making our way out of that, rolling back to the ground. Now the interesting thing about that kind of posture, when you come out of it, your spine may respond with a type of tightness, twinginess. It's like a twinge, not a pain or painful sensation, but just something that feels a little bit tight. And the best approach I find, and your instinct will probably be anyway, to hug the knees in for a few moments. If you don't need to do that, then just keep the legs stretched out. Just let everything return gradually to neutral in its own time, in its own way. But if you do feel anything a little bit strange in the lower back once you have stretched out, then just bring the knees inwards. I'm about to do that in a few moments. So it's demonstrating what to do. And it can be a little bit delayed. It might not happen as soon as you stretch the legs out, as the discs of the spine slowly ease back into their proper shape. Because remember, we've stretched them quite strongly in that forward bend. So that's what I'm doing now, just bringing the knees in. That opens up the gaps, the joints. Just gives it a little longer to ease back into shape. And then when you're ready, you stretch the legs back out along the floor. And just completely relax for a few moments, so a little mini Shavasana, if you like, in Sanskrit terms. And the body just to return to neutral. Remember, when you're lying down on your back, the safest way to come out of that position is always to bend the knees and just carefully tip over to one side and use your arm to come up. It's never a good idea to try and come up in a sit-up type movement. So bend the knees, which is what I'm doing now, rolling over, coming up into a sitting position. I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.